Hi guys, this is Lisa from Hope Chest Bride, and I just wanted to give you a little view of my lace station. I know a lot of us have the candy stations in our craft room, and I've been so inspired by a lot of you ladies out there with your candy stations, and I decided to do a lace station and a little candy station in my craft room. So I'm going to move the camera slowly so as not to make anyone dizzy. And this is my lace station, where I keep some of my lace trims, and I love how it turned out. I've used a lot of apothecary jars that I found either in Marshall's or TJ Maxx or at the thrift store, and those two large jars in the back there you'll recognize from, I'm not sure if your Michaels received those or not, but my Michaels got those in at the beginning, well, at the end of the winter, and they were $40, but of course I didn't pay $40 for them. I used a coupon on the first one to get 50% off, and then the next one I used a coupon and I got the 50% off, plus I got an additional percentage off when they had that percentage off day around Christmas time. So I just bundle up my lace and trims and just wrap them around those little clothespin spools all of us have and put them in there. And starting over here, I found this little tassel at Tuesday morning a couple weeks ago. And it was kind of pricey to me. It was $6. I think it was $6.99, and which is more than what I would pay normally for a tassel. But I thought it was so pretty, and it just really goes with the theme of the room with the crocheted lace, or just lace period, hanging from the tassel. I love how it looks. And these are my flowers that Elise sent to me. We did a little small swap not long ago, and she sent me some beautiful flowers. So I put them in this little apothecary jar I found at Tuesday morning on clearance. I think I got it for about $7, $6 or $7 a couple weekends ago. This is one of the little ladies that live in my craft room. This vintage image I found out on the web. And I thought she was so pretty, so I just printed it off. And I found this little frame at Marshall's about 2 weeks ago for $4 on clearance. So I picked that up. And I've had this little mini frame for about 10 years. It's a vintage frame I found at an antique store about 10 years ago. And there's some more lace and trim, and then I have, this is just antique tongs that I found at a thrift store, and I cleaned them up with some silver cleaner and just added them to the little vignette. And I have my little silver tray, and this is an old lace table runner that I found at the thrift store. It has a tear on one side, but who cares? It works, and you can't see the tear. And this chest piece used to be yellow when I found it at an antique store, and I just painted it and kind of distressed it a little bit. You can see my hot mess right there. Those need to be altered. And then over here I have a little bit more lace. This is just I think it was a mayonnaise or a pickle jar that was in my kitchen, and I cleaned it up after we finished using it, and I added the trim to it and put my keys in there. So I just hung a little key on there just so that I'll know what's in that jar. And this is all that tinsel that all of us found at Michael's Craft Store. I got it on sale. And these are those sachets that I found at Hancock Fabric. And another one of those jars. I got that one this past week on clearance, because they're on clearance now at Michael's for $17.99. So I picked that one up. And this big jar I've had for a number of years now, and I just put vintage lace and trims in there. And then I have a old fruit bowl that I used to have on my counter in my kitchen, and I just keep extra lace in it. As I buy it, I just toss the spools in there until I can wrap them around some more of those spools. And there's one of my dress forms. and some baubles, and that's my chest that I keep all of my Tim Holtz products in. And I'm going to cover it up so that I can move you over to my little candy station so I don't make you dizzy. And right here is my candy station. This is where I keep all of my little beads and pearls that I use for making my stick pins. And a lot of the items that you see inside the cabinet I picked up at the thrift store. Very cheap. I mean, I don't think anything costs over $5. So, even this little crystal dome, I found this last week for about $4 at the thrift store. And it's heavy. It's really cute. And that little sign back there came off of a card my mom gave me when I was in about the 5th or 6th grade. And I saved it. And then all of these are little apothecary jars. I found this set of Old Spice jars. And I brought them home, cleaned them up real well, and just altered them to put my beads in. And he lives in here also. That's Booker T. Washington. I thought that was a great picture of him. I wanted a lady and a gentleman in my room, and I found those two vintage images online, so I printed them off and put them in frames. And that frame came from, I can't remember where I purchased it from, but it was about a week ago for about $3. I think it was Marshall's or TJ Maxx. And then that vintage lady up there, I found that on an ugly, ugly old plaque at Goodwill. And so I just pulled it off and cleaned it up and just leaned her in there. And there's a little crown that I found at Burlington Coat Factory years ago. And the crown jars I found at Burlington years ago. And I love this right here. This is one of my favorite verses in the Bible. And I found this for $1 at the thrift store a few months back. And that vintage picture back here I found at an antique store here in my small town. And I was going to just use the frame, but once I got it home, I realized that the picture won't come out the frame because it's so old. So I just tucked it up there. It's really pretty. And then this little vintage frame right here I also found at the thrift store. I think it was $1. My little cup and saucer. I love that. It's got roses on it. And that little cherub plaque back there I found for $1 at the thrift store. And that silver tray I keep my seam binding in. And lace trims I found for about $3 at an antique store. So right now that's my candy station. One day I hope to have a larger cabinet so I can expand and maybe have a few more jars in there to put all of my beads and pearls and trim in. But right now I love the way it turned out. It's just an old secretary that I found on Craigslist a few years back for about $15. It was in really bad shape. My husband and I brought it home and I cleaned it up and distressed it and painted it and tucked it here in my little room. So that's my candy station and my little lace station right next to each other. So just wanted to share that with you guys, and I'll be back with another video soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.